Hi, Ericka. This is Laura Kraut, and thank you for sending in all your videos from your horses. I have just watched the first group of Petrushka, and then I will watch your other two horses in a moment. So far, I've only seen you on this horse, but it looks great. She just looks like a superstar. Of all the rounds and all the fences you jump, I don't think you have one down. Which is pretty impressive. And I'm sure you really enjoy riding her. And as we all are, we're ready to get back going and get back into action. It looks like you have a great partnership with her. She trusts you, you trust her. Whatever you ask of her, she does. You are aggressive and you look like a real winner, which is fun to watch. I think what I'm going to do, because there are so many videos, I think we'll just sort of do an overview as we're going. I'm going to probably not tear it down fence by fence because there's just so much of it, but I'm just going to get going and we'll talk about it, sort of the things that I see. One of the overriding things that I do see is she wants to get off a little bit to the right side, and she's a little bit right-leaded, which is fine. I think a couple of times, if you catch that a little sooner, maybe your distance would work out a little bit better. But I think overall, you try to keep her as straight as you can. One of the other things that I do notice and just am going to point out is that I feel that sometimes you lose a little bit of your position in the air. Your leg gets a little bit loose. More often when you're really going forward, but I feel like your leg gets a little loose, so you tend to want to hang on a little bit in the air of the jump. Even in this first video, I think it's fence 6 and 7, you can see where you just want to clutch and hang on by your hands and not so much by your leg. I think you just want to maybe work on just getting a little bit stronger with your lower leg, with your upper leg, getting just a little bit more grounded in the tack. That way, when you do get to the jump, you feel like you can be light with your hand and give, and your upper body would get a little bit more control to it when you need it. That being said, you're very competent. But even as you pull your horse up, and there's only a couple of examples of it, but what I would love to see is sort of, instead of you just hauling on her mouth, actually sinking down in the saddle, get your leg around her and bend her and try to get her to come back to you. Now, she does have her own way of going, which is with her nose out, which is her way. And it definitely works for her, but it still doesn't mean that you can't make things a little bit better. So even if you work on transitions of canter to trot, and work on when you want to get her back, that she does bring her nose in just a little bit. And working on this is through your seat and your leg being around her, and then ask her to nicely try to bring her head in just a smidge. It doesn't have to be, she doesn't have to look like a Grand Prix dressage horse, but just work on those transitions of forward and back being a little bit smoother. And I think that you'd find as you're going around the course, maybe, again, if you improve things 10%, 5% even, it's an improvement, and it all goes towards, winning and getting that much better and having an edge on your competition, which I'm sure from what I'm seeing, you win many classes. Again, I'm watching probably the second round now at WEF. And you're great. You're aggressive, you're bold. You ask for what you want and she gives it to you, which is really good. And only a couple times in the whole video do I see it be, where it's maybe not ideal. And in this round, in the jump up over to 11AB, I feel like that's where you lose her in that right shoulder. I think on that, you could maybe have done one less just with a left opening rein and a strong right leg, not letting her fade out through the right hand shoulder. Now we look to be in Kentucky. And again, she's just jump after jump and round after round. She's looking like she loves her job. Second jump was a little bit big, and then you landed with her. She's in your hand and pulling you. But again, what I do like about you is you don't panic. You sat there, you took a hold of her, you sat quiet, patient, and let the jump come to you, and it was really good. Everything is aggressive. You have a good big ride to the Liverpool. And then you go to get her back here and you get stuffed in the 9. But that's okay. I mean, I think that was a smart ride because you had to have a turn back after that jump. I think if you'd have just let her drag you down, then you would have really gone past your turn. But this goes back to what I was talking about, and that is working on getting her to go forward and come back. So when you have the forward jump like you had, and even as this course goes on, maybe this is probably a speed round, when you have her in that flat out open gallop, then you sort of lose that shorten, and that's something you want to work on. So again, trot canter transitions and then gallop to collected transitions. Also, a lot of work over poles or cavalettis where you go forward and leave it out and then add again. One of the other things when you do that is when you go to add, don't just crawl to the one on the way in to make the add easy. Gallop to the one on the way in and then have to fit it in. Things like that, just to work on your control, just to make you have that much more confidence in the distance that you're riding to. We're on to another round in Kentucky. Again, yeah, she's looking good. Everything is working well. You jumped through a double. She landed a little strong, but you got her back to the next vertical. I think you're coming around the in-gate end. Good ride back to your Liverpool. As we're talking, you can just see even through the double where your toe goes down and your heel comes up and you just don't quite have that leg around her. From the way you don't look to be super tall, but still you could get that leg down and around her. And here's where I really noticed the transition back is not great. And she's rooting and you're pulling and sort of seesawing on her. And I think that's just something. I know that horses get excited as they go around the ring, and she looks to be a professional and she knows her job. So I'm sure she thinks when she's gone through the timers, she's off. But I do think you could work on smoothing that out and not making it be so rough. You're off to the jump off, which I've watched your rounds 2 or 3 times, and all of your jump offs are super competitive. So 1 to 2, you're very quick back to the third. Really good. But see how loose that leg is as you go through the turn. I mean, you're using it, but you could polish that up a lot. I think it doesn't bother her so much, but then you end up sort of on the half stride. And almost always when you end up on the half stride, it's on your left turn where you lose her to the outside on the right. So I think if your leg was a little stronger and down around her, you're probably less likely to have that happen. Not sure where we are. Oh, it's still Kentucky. Yeah, still Kentucky. Another round. Beautiful first line. This looks like maybe it's the classic because you're dressed in white. And this pace is nice. I like the rhythm that you've got with her here. Again, still, as you can see, you'll see your right heel come up in the air there. That's probably my overriding thing of watching is you getting that position a little bit stronger, get your leg a little bit tighter. Now through the triple, you were very good in your left leg there. And then also just watching her right shoulder that you don't get dragged into something that you don't want, or if she fades out, you miss something that you'd want. Really good through your double, down the hill, by the in-gate. Very good off the left lead there. You had her nice and in front of your leg. Really good to the plank. And I really like how straight you kept her there. And you could tell you were straight because she landed left. Very good. And this is another round, so no jump off. Again, very good. Maybe this is a speed round. You look like you're going forward. I think this might be Upperville. Very good. You turn well. I like how game you are. You got a good one down at the oxer on the end. That might have been a jump off that I just watched. And then this is maybe a first round. Not much to comment on. Anyhow, we'll keep watching and doing this together, but I will say you must have a great time riding this horse, because it's really fun to ride horses that never knock poles down. It gives you a lot of confidence. I'm excited to watch your other two just to see what the difference is, but this is she's just got a great expression. Maybe this looks like it could be a power and speed class, because you started out slow and now you're pouring it on. You just turned back to the double of verticals and then turned back on the blue and green oxer and galloped to the last, which is really good. Or that wasn't the last. There's one more, fence 12, and then maybe one more after that. Yeah. Super round there. That was really good. And it looked like I don't know what you placed in that, but it was a good, thoughtful ride. All your turns were very efficient. This must be the classic, because again, you're in white. This is one of my favorite rounds, I think, from watching it. I just really love the way you ride. The whole first part of this course is beautiful. Really good of keeping her straight through the double. Really good ride there to the blue and white, because that was a blind turn. That's not easy for them to know that that's where they're going. Good to the triple. Could have controlled your body a little bit better between B and C. I liked the ride in, but I didn't love B and C with your upper body. Again, still going back to the strength in the lower leg that'll help you, or strength in the leg, period. Nice ride down the outside line. And even though she does want to get off to the right corner, you are pretty good about really keeping her to the center as much as you can. So it looked to be a clear round, and then I think you might have a jump off here next. Yep. Starting well for the jump off. Good aggressive ride to the first. I always say be the fastest to the first jump. That starts you off on a good way, and that you did. Great ride to the second one. Really aggressive to the green oxer. I love it. Again, okay, you're leading a bit with your shoulders, but listen, you and this horse have a great relationship, and she knows what you want, and she's happy to give it to you. On a newer horse, you might want to watch that, because they might not understand exactly what you're asking. But for this horse, she gets it, you get it, and it works out great. I don't know whether you won that class, but you were really quick. Now we're back at WEF. I think in the Dynamity ring. Looks like this could be a speed round. Or maybe it's a jump off. Anyhow, very good through the first four. Good to the purple vertical. Good aggressive ride back on that oxer. That's that right hand drift. Very good there. Now you see you're in the main ring, which is always fun to ride in. It'd be particularly fun on this horse. I bet she loves being in there. couple of times throughout the video, you have to go to your hand and your hand gets a little bit strong. I'm not that opposed to that because you need to. You know, like between fence 3 and 4 or 2 and 3, you had to be a little bit aggressive with your hand. The only thing I'll say about that is I think if you can work on getting her a little bit more adjustable, then your hand probably could lighten up a little bit. Maybe she would listen a little bit sooner than she does. Very good round, though. I think that must have been a speed round. Now we're back in the Denemothy again. Like right there. That's where, you know, from 7 to 8, you'd love to have just a little bit more control. You take a hold of her, but she kind of only gives you half a notice. Very good ride to the double. Outside leg there, and that came up about as good as it could. Good ride to the blue vertical. Your right-hand turn is definitely your fast one. You're right there. Excellent. I think this is split rock, and this is also a great round. I really like this. I don't know when this was, maybe in the fall. There, you've got your outside leg on perfectly, and she's as straight as she can be. Good ride to the double. Again, good ride there. Well ridden. Again, I don't know whether you won that or not, but you're very efficient. I don't think that there's many places where people can catch you, and particularly when you do get a hold of that outside right hand shoulder. I don't think there's many people that'd be quicker. Fun to watch you. I'm going to move on to your other horses next, and hope you take care and get back in the show ring soon.